What's up, my friends, and welcome back to the channel. In the last video, I finished up all of the body work on the rear door of the Evo 10. Everything is now blocked out with 600. I'm very excited for this video. It's been a long time coming. I really want to get this door painted. Once I'm done with this, the only other things that I need to paint are the side skirt and the rear wing back there. Two very, very small pieces, at least compared to both of the doors. Originally, I was going to try to blend the clear at the top up there because I do have this rain guard. I don't know if you can see that right now. I've decided against that just because I am a newbie and there's things that I just don't know. I'm gonna go ahead and remove this. I may put it back on there, I may not. I may take the rest of them off. Either way, I'm gonna get this removed. I'll get the rest of this top portion here sanded down. I'm gonna hit this portion right here again with 600 just to make sure there's nothing else on the surface. And then we should be ready to go for paint. Stay tuned. If you didn't see the last video, as always, go check it out. It was very, very redundant. I sanded everything back down with 180 grit. I sprayed my primer. I blocked everything out, but I could still see those scratches, and you can still see these scratches here. These are the 320. I was really afraid with the 180 grit scratches that filler primer was not going to fill it in. It was going to shrink, and when I laid that base coat over it, I felt like you were going to be able to see those scratches. So after that, I went ahead and sanded everything back down with 320 grit, laid another layer of primer on there, blocked everything out with 320, blocked it out with 600. So everything down here right now, again, is blocked out with 600. But before I get ready to actually spray the paint, I am also going to sand all of this. You can see this is all still glossy. My original plan was just to tape off this right here. I was going to have just kind of a bridge, and then I was going to blend my clear right here. As I've mentioned in every single video, I'm not a professional. I've only painted on a few things. It's basically been this car. I don't want everything to come out perfect down here and then have an issue up here and then having to resand, respray just because of that. I'll get this rain guard removed. I'll get all of this top portion, all of this paint scuffed up with some 600. I will probably go ahead and remask everything since this primer left a big dent over here. And then this thing should be ready to go for paint. Rain guard is off of the door, very easy to get off. It's 2 clips here, and you have 2 of these little push buttons. I just used an Allen wrench, but you can use like a screwdriver or something like that. You just push from the back side, and then you'll pull it out from the other side right here, and then these little clips are what's hanging on the other side of the door there. What I did is just used my heat gun to heat up all of that adhesive. Originally I was trying to use a little orange trim tool, and then I realized it was starting to raise the plastic. So I switched over, I used my fishing line. This stuff works great. The only thing is obviously it just leaves a bunch of adhesive left over. For that, I did not have an actual bottle of alcohol. All I had left over were these little alcohol prep pads. So I used those. That works great. It did take me about 10 minutes to finally get all of that adhesive off. The other thing that I realized that I was going to have to remove was this tape up here. It's actually just a vinyl wrap that goes over. Even though I did decide to go ahead and put the rain guard back on there, you won't see any of this, but if anybody does ever decide to remove it in the future, including myself, I didn't want there to be a paint line right above where that vinyl tape was at. Other things that I had to remove that I didn't think I was going to was this weather stripping right here. There's a bunch of these little clips. I'm not sure the exact right way of getting them out of there. I actually at first was trying to just pry them out with my trim tool. Trim tool was not small enough to fit behind those little grooves. I ended up just separating all of the rubber from the plastic clips themselves. Then I popped all of the clips out separately with a pair of needle nose pliers. You can't see it right now because it is taped up, but those clips run all the way along here on all this giant, bigger weather stripping also. For those, I just left the clips in there. This little piece of small weather stripping right here, on the bottom side of it, I actually tore it by accident when I first pulled this door off of the car. It's been about 6 months ago, and honestly, I thought this was just one little small piece. I didn't realize that that was attached to the entire weather stripping on the door. So I'm probably just gonna order a whole new piece. I went ahead and taped everything up. I got the door moved over. I got all fresh masking on here now. Masking these things off is actually getting pretty easy now. I've got a process tape and drape over the stand. I lay the door over the top of it. I back mask everything around the edges, and I can just roll that tape and drape up into it. Same thing for where the glass is at. I just kind of back masked everything, laid down my paper masking, and then just folded everything back. All the excess I just folded back over and then taped up. Door is completely ready to go for paint. I am going to call it quits for today. I will get the garage masked off when I get back to you guys. I promised Jagger we would go ride some dirt bikes. In a day or two, we'll get the entire garage masked off. We'll get all of our filters, all of our fans set up, and we should be able to lay down some paint. Garage is all masked off. I used my tape and drape as I usually do. I've got my fans hung. I did hang them in a different place. Usually I hang them on the garage door. It's on the inside there, but this time I just went ahead and used the same hook that's up there holding the light. These things don't weigh very much and those things are anchored in there just fine. What I did is once I get them hung, I just tape everything to the tape and drape, tape it to the fan. It basically seals everything off, and then I can cut the inside film. Here's where I come in. I've got it basically anchored down there. I've got it anchored up here. There will be a little bit of draft coming through here. If you've seen any of my other videos, tape and drape is the exact same stuff, and then I go back over it with the rough surface tape. It just kind of helps hold it up there. This is where the fans are at. I've got the filters over them. I did something different with the filters this time. Instead of just trying to tape it, I used zip ties at the top up here. For the garage door, I also did something different. The last time I put the exhaust fan all the way over here, but that's because I had both of my intake fans over here. This is just, I believe it's a 5 foot, it may be 6 foot tape and drape, but I believe it's 5. I just tape it all along the garage door here. I've just got some metal bars down here. I tape them together so they don't roll, and they hold this down pretty good. Same thing with the other fans. I just basically cut out the film and then I tape around it as I go. As far as the door goes, I did already go ahead and do a final sanding on everything. I got all of this scuffed up here. I am fully ready to go for base coat. The only thing that I've got to do is I am going to retape off this little piece, this little piece. I'll clean everything up really, really good with a degreaser, and then we should be ready to spray. Last coat of clear went on about 10 minutes ago. I'm not going to move around too quickly. I don't want to stir up too much dust. Look in there already. You can see a few little dirt and dust nibs, but everything turned out really, really good. Dirt and dust nibs are to be expected since I'm painting the garage. I'll sand and polish all of that out later on. Base coat, I did exactly the same as I always do if you've seen any of my other videos. However, the clear coat, I did something much different this time. For the base coat, this is what I use. It's this Matrix brand. The color match is pretty good. It's not exactly on. Mixes 1-to-1 with reducer. When I laid down the base coat this morning, it was about 87 degrees outside. The slow reducer is good for 80 to 89, so that's what I went ahead and used. I don't usually have any issues with the base coat. I don't have solvent pop issues with that. However, if you've seen any of my last videos with the front door, you can see how much I've struggled with solvent pop. And what I finally realized is that I needed to add some reducer in with my clear coat. It's this Gentech Kick-Ass Clear. This stuff looks absolutely amazing once it does go on, so it's a really, really nice clear coat. It mixes 4-to-1. Started spraying the clear at about 95 degrees outside. So I did mix in 10% of this extra slow reducer. I knew adding the extra reducer was going to make it more prone to runs, so I was very, very careful on my first coat, and then I did 3 more coats on the heavier side. But so far, so good. I don't see any solvent popping. I don't see any fisheyes popping up. I believe that the extra reducer added into the clear is what made the difference. I'm gonna let everything sit. I'm gonna let everything dry. I'll just let it all dry overnight, and I will catch back up with you guys in a day or two and see how this thing looks. It's been a few days. I have let the door completely finish drying. Overall, everything came out really, really nice. I'll be honest with you, this is probably my best paint job yet, especially on something this big, a panel this big. If you look in there, there is quite a few dirt and dust nibs. That is, again, to be expected. That's not a big deal. I can definitely sand and polish all of those out. If you saw in the last coat of clear going on right before I sprayed it, I was over here on the side. I was trying to get a bug out that had actually flown in there. I was able to get the majority of him out, but some of them was left in there, as you can see. But looking at all of the other little dirt and dust nibs, it looks like that's the only one that you're going to be able to see a little bit. One thing I am happy about is I was able to keep some of that orange peel. It just makes it look a little bit more factory. For anyone who has watched any of my last few painting videos, the one thing that I am very happy and very proud of is there is 0 solvent pop. There is not a single fisheye anywhere. Biggest contributing factor to the no solvent pop or fisheye, I definitely give credit to this extra slow reducer. When you look at the technical data sheets for that Kick-Ass Clear, it does not tell you to put reducer in there. It just says 4 parts clear and 1 part hardener. But with 10% of this added in, it stirred up so much more liquidy. It was not as thick. Everything actually sprayed on really, really nice. I did not get a single run anywhere. So if you are at home, if you see this video, if you're trying to paint at home and you're getting all these little fish eyes popping up and everything keeps telling you that it's some sort of contaminant on the surface or contaminant within the air system or something like that, I went through every single forum. I read everything. I watched as many videos as I could, and this was the actual issue. One thing I will say, the technical data sheets for the Kick-Ass Clear does say it's only good for 2 to 3 coats. Usually when I put this on here, again, I expect the dirt and dust nibs. I know that I'm going to have to sand some clear out, so I try to put 4 to 5 coats. I believe that that's also been part of my issue. I am going to end the video here. If you liked it, if you learned something, please hit that like button. If you want to see more going on with the channel, if you want to see the door get polished out, go back on the car, hit that subscribe button, and I will catch you guys next time.